Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
Estrogen levels peaking. It's like she's in heat.
When are you gonna grow up, man? Chicks love cars. If you want to get into their pants, you better have a nice, hot Ferrari.
She's my hot Ferrari. Besides, I love my Mustang, which is a plug-in hybrid. It gets 100 mpg.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open up my eyes!
Welcome to episode 18 of Schlock Talk, the godfather of all trigger warnings in podcast form since 2013. I'm Gabe.
I'm Walter.
I'm Bill.
I'm Chris.
So tonight's movie is Leprechaun 4 in space. It's a space.
So he would be a spleprechaun?
Yes. He's a space leprechaun in space.
Wow.
It's a 1996.
Are we going there? Are we really going
No,
there?
let's end that now.
No. Gabe's like space whatever jokes is like freaking herpes. It's here forever. We better dive right back into another fantasy-themed movie.
There's a lot of commercials for the medicine for those space jokes, like kayaking and riding mountain bikes and
things not space related.
Yeah, but Valtrex related. So let's talk about midgets, guys.
Really?
I did not realize until I'd finished my notes for tonight's movie, Leprechaun 4 in Space, that I had not made even a single midget joke.
Should they be called dwarves?
We'll get
Little
there.
people?
These days...
What is the technical term?
Vertically challenged?
Little people, I think, is what we're supposed to say.
Smaller than normal?
Munchkins?
Smaller than normal people. These days, those alarming little monsters are everywhere. Most especially in our mainstream entertainment. From fetish porn to snuff films, you can't seem to swing a dead baby without hitting those macabre, meager munchkins, or at least missing high by a couple of inches.
God damn you, Peter Dinklage.
You could call it the golden era of those disquieting, diminutive demons, if such an idea were not in itself a horrifying signifier of the end of all things. But in all honesty, way to go, you little buggers! Not all dwarves are infant-thieving reprobates. In fact, some of them are slowly becoming slightly less massive, if undersized, burdens on society. There's, of course, the very nearly acceptable Peter Dinklage, who plays the sinister scoundrel Tyrion Lannister on HBO's Game of Thrones. Although it's difficult to tell what part of his performance is truly acting and what is merely his genetically innate depravity.
What is he doing? Is he like spin strong to gold in that?
He just hangs around with horse.
There's no denying that the mere sight of this miserable creature is more than enough to send the most sensitive among us into spasmic conniptions, all but ensuring that he will go down as the most diabolical villain in television history. I'm waiting for Craig to say something.
He's like the most beloved character on the show.
Yeah. So, like, Gabe, let's say, I can see Craig's, like, reaction to that. And, like, I'm just like, let's take your role model. Let's take your dad. Imagine someone were to walk up to your dad, steal his, diabetes medication and dangle it over his freaking head. And he slowly dies as he tries to jump and claw for it.
Yeah.
That's what you just did to him. You just killed his dad.
And then you sat on his dad's head because he was small.
If only this was the case with Warwick Davis in this episode's movie. To be honest, the heavy leprechaun makeup that Davis wears throughout the film is actually an improvement on his otherwise alarming face. While his appearance is supposed to be frightening, the green suit and latex appliances serve to soften his look from wholly unsettling to merely irritating. Of course, there are plenty of other problems with Leprechaun 4. I had never watched any of these movies prior to doing so for the podcast, and I have just one question. How did he get into space to begin with? Did he magically transport himself there? For all I know, he traveled there on a spaceship made of ding-dongs. Although whether those were of the Hostess or John Holmes varieties, I couldn't tell you.
No, it's
a
fucking
rainbow.
Seriously, a fucking spaced rainbow.
It's a rainbow. Have you no idea how these works?
A space rainbow, and he freaking just wrote it. He wrote his freaking pot of gold to
There
the
was
next piece of shit planet.
space, rain, and lightning. It called the Rainbow Bridge. He rode his fucking unicorn over there.
A sprainbow?
He wished on a 4-leaf clover.
Even though it makes no sense, Leprechaun 4 kind of rules. We're all aware of the aphorism, everything is better with midgets. It's just like how Aerosmith is the worst band ever. 2/3 of Kardashian women are contractually obligated to date black guys, and retarded people in movies are always wispy.
You know, so Gabe, you've seen a lot of shitty crap in cinema.
Yes.
Has there been like a movie that's had like an all freaking little person cast?
Terror of Tiny Town.
Terror of Tiny Town?
It's a midget western.
Midget western. Okay, perfect. Like, why
Time
can't
Bandits.
they? Time Bandits. Okay, well, it wasn't all midget cast. But still, like, I mean, wouldn't it be cool if maybe they had like a World War II one, and Hitler and all the Nazis were all midgets?
Wow. Trademark that shit fast.
What about Star Wars?
You stole my wild pitch.
He was in Star Wars.
I could just, I'm sorry, but if I just saw a little miniature Fiora, I was going, Zig Heitz, Zig Heitz.
They're the 1/3 Reich. So, in spite of society's justified distrust of these mentally unstable, crafty half-humans, it almost makes you happy that Warwick Davis somehow survived his customary post-birth drowning down at the local pond. Almost. So I got all the midget jokes for myself out of the way. You guys are more than
good, you know.
Hey, say what you will about midgets, but
I just did.
Say it
Paul's
again.
losing his train of thought.
Say what you will again.
Let him
about
talk
midgets.
before he forgets.
yeah, thanks. I have Alzheimer's, and
I know.
say what you will about midgets, but there's no tighter pussy on the planet.
Oh my god.
Yes,
It's the
because
only
if there's-
legal pedophilia he can do.
If there's anything Paul likes, he likes a vagina that his 1-inch dick can bottom out in.
Sometimes they say it's too big.
So, Leprechaun 4 begins with several asteroids and a spaceship, and the graphics produced to use the ship, used to produce the ship, look worse than a DOS-based FMV game from 1990.
Yeah, that was some crappy.
Yeah, that was
Crappy
pretty bad.
graphics.
Okay.
It was like vector graphics.
And they're wisecracking space marines, because that's original, but it's still better than Aliens, Paul.
Fuck you. I will defend James Cameron.
Yeah. The billionaire.
Yes.
Who needs you to defend him?
The man who brought you Avatar and Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also brought me Aliens.
Yeah.
And The Terminator. And T2.
And that, True Lies?
Yeah.
True Lies. Hey, you know what? That was a good one.
The Abyss?
That was good.
Okay.
That was good.
Okay.
He's an innovator.
You guys
So-
can just hug it out at this point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension going on here.
Yes.
So when
you guys, can we get like a teamwork, friendship, double hand job on James Cameron's dick right now, you guys?
Well, I heard it has two heads.
While he cradles
One of them
both your
speaks
heads
Mandarin.
at the same time.
Cradles our heads.
And so one of the Marines on the ship tells the other one,
He's
him
gonna
for a
force us.
breath mint.
He's going to force us to breathe liquid oxygen while we're giving him head.
Underwater blowjob.
And also, one of the Marines is a cyborg. The sergeant is a cyborg.
It's really hard to say cyborg. He's a guy that had a really bad freaking cranial repair or whatever. He just has a freaking plate. He's a baldy with a freaking chrome plate.
They scalped him and then they put tinfoil on his head to cover the wounds. so they wouldn't bleed out. It was some really bad triage shit going on.
Apparently, in the future, like steel plates exist, but skin grafts have just like somehow they've lost the freaking art of making those.
It's skin welding.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
I'm
where we're
pretty
headed.
sure it's like,
I read an article in Modern Science.
It's pretty much like their MASH units were like preschoolers who were doing this kind of shit. They had like a hobby thing they had to do. Like, let's put the Ran Wrap on the man's head and make the bleeding stop.
He looks like Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah, there we go.
The
is that the one with Matthew McConaughey?
And this guy is like...
No, that's the one... Oh, shit. The radio station and...
Dennis Hopper.
All
right.
Yeah.
But it's weird because, like, I guess this guy is like the platoon sergeant or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, midgets be damned if they're offended, but I think the Marine should be offended. This guy is like a walking stereotype of a Marine.
He says
minus the post-traumatic stress disorder, where someone just knocks on his door and he immediately dives behind his freaking sofa and throws a grenade at the door.
He says, Semper Fi, do or die, kill, kill, kill. And his name is Sergeant Hooker, by the way. So the crew of the ship, the Space Marines, they get hailed on the communicator by the nostril Nazi Dr. Mittenhand.
The best character in the whole yes. We love us some Mittenhand.
He saved this movie.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, when you say you love you some Mittenhand, we know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Of course.
I would go for a Mittenhand job.
Knit your dick,
Never in
motherfucker.
history as a group
I made the mistake of opening Craig's sock drawer once. I've never seen a stiffer mitten in my life. You could hammer nails with that thing.
And so there's a doctor on the ship, and her name's Dr. Tina, the hot blonde.
The hot blonde.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't give her the typical Hollywood make under, where ponytail and glasses, kind of like what Paul sports every day, is what makes you a nerd and smart, and you read books and know what letters are.
And so,
wow, you just made no sense. You said that's what I sport every day, and it makes you look smart.
So all this stuff on the ship is happening. There's apparently a Deathstalker movie happening somewhere, and the Leprechaun has like a woman like shackled to a cave wall, and he's trying to like romance her.
Well, this is the part
Isn't
that throws
how
me
you romance people?
entirely. I mean, okay, so the last time I saw the prequel to this movie, okay, Willow had just saved this baby from Beth Morda. And now she's grown up and become a slut. And he's got her chained to a wall.
Why would he like chain her to a wall? Wouldn't he have like whatchamacallit, groomed her from birth and everything like that?
You would think so, but somehow he got like acid splashed on his face, and while it slightly improved his looks otherwise, I'm still a bit confused of what happened in the meantime. I have to watch Willow 2 or Leprechaun 1 to get the better idea of what's going on.
You know, I saw this documentary about Warwick Davis, and do you know he constantly wears like a crash helmet, like a big football helmet?
No.
It's so that he can run into people's balls like Craig.
I don't need a helmet. I use teeth.
So while this is happening with the Leprechaun, back on the ship, the Space Marines are praying to Jesus, and they ask that any wounds they receive are only flesh wounds. But it's not really clear on what they're going to do, and so
unlike the psychological scars I got from
like Sergeant Chromedome like leads the prayer when they're like in their aliens drop ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Or drop set. I don't know. It's probably a closet, janitor's closet. They all crammed in there for filming that scene. And he's like, "Dear Jesus, but pray that the only wounds are flesh wounds. Amen."
So back on the planet,
I say that every night at the dinner table.
The wounds are only flesh wounds.
They're wounds to your soul,
Amen.
Paul. They'll never heal.
The Leprechaun and the wench, her name's Princess Zarina.
Alora Dannon.
And she's making who?
Alora Dannon.
Mm-hmm. Is that who that is? She's the actress?
No, that's the baby from Willow.
Oh. So the princess is making fun of the Leprechaun, and the Marines land on the planet. And the female Marine says they always do better when they are goosed. What does this mean?
It's when you like grab someone by the ass. When
That's
you're
what I
walking
thought
by,
that meant.
You know, it just.
Wait, was this before or after the house fell on the witch?
No. Goose.
Wrong movie.
Goose is from the movie Top Gun,
Okay.
where they eject and Goose breaks his fucking neck
On
off
the-
the fucking hatch and drowns in the fucking water.
Okay.
Which is still better than being
And
in
then
this
Meg
movie.
Ryan cries.
And Meg Ryan cries, yes.
Okay.
And Tom Cruise does not hit that shit.
Yeah.
Goddamn best friend.
And so the leprechaun tries to like woo the princess. He like makes jewels for her on the table where they're at. And we also see that the Marines have come with like the motion detector from
You know what?
Aliens.
I'm sorry, my mind is elsewhere.
Yeah.
He's been talking about Top Gun, and all I can think about is a midget volleyball montage.
Sadly, the ball.
Saddest game ever.
Sadly,
Sweaty,
the ball.
shirtless, and greased.
Sadly, the ball never goes over the net.
Yes.
No. They just have each individual normal person is 3 midgets stacked on top of each other.
No, I like
so
to
they
think
can
that they
play
would just
the
play
proper
with a tennis net.
Well, actually, they're all on a ping pong ball table.
God.
They have to be careful not to fall off.
So we see that the Marines have the motion detector from Aliens, and just to drive home the point that Aliens sucks, Paul. And then the aliens get attacked by a giant blue turd.
The aliens do?
Or I'm sorry, the Marines. The Marines.
They get attacked by a giant blue turd?
They get attacked by something. He like summons up like a ghost or something, doesn't he? That comes after
Well,
them.
Blue is magical. He can do that kind of shit.
I summoned up a blue ghost turd this morning.
And so they shoot at this blue turd. Have you been eating urinal mints again, Paul?
He's graduated to the cakes.
I call
They're
them
free.
blue hobos.
They're always there. They're so inviting.
Yeah.
I don't know why people pee on them.
Yeah, the blue ho-hos.
That's what Paul calls the little people he hires and makes dress up as Smurfs.
So the sergeant gets pissed.
That's why they call him the tidy bowel man.
Tidy bowel man. Craig didn't like that.
I didn't even go there. Okay, go on. Go on, Gabe. Entertain us.
So the sergeant's pissed because they're shooting at this blue thing that's attacking them, and the whole planet, because he's like, the whole planet's going to know we're here. Although I'm pretty sure they could have seen his chrome dome gleaming from outer space as he was landing.
Who the fuck else was on this planet? They're in a cave in the middle of some asteroid.
It barely makes any sense. It doesn't.
Who knows why the fuck they're hunting down the leprechaun in the first fucking place?
Well, is that what they're there to do?
Like, what did he
We
do?
don't really know what they're there to do. They're hired. They were hired by Dr. Mittenhands.
Yeah.
To do something, which is not expressly made clear, because everything else they find seems like a big giant surprise to them, including the leprechaun and Elora Danon. So who the fuck knows what's going on with these guys? They're mercenaries. They're not Marines because some dude's paying them to do shit.
And so one of the Marines finds the leprechaun's treasure, but the leprechaun chops him up with a lightsaber.
Yes,
That's original.
Yes.
Hey, he starred in Return of the Jedi. He was an Ewok. He's allowed.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's allowed.
Yeah.
He can have that in there.
This isn't like...
It's like some little licensing thing George Lucas bequeathed upon him. He says, you can have a lightsaber in whatever movie you make.
This isn't like Marjo Gortner from Space Mutiny or whatever the hell that was we watched last time.
Marjo Gortner. That's the name of a midget. Let's cut that guy off at the knees.
So a battle ensues between the Marines and the leprechaun, and the Marines blow up the leprechaun with a grenade, and the princess also gets her hand blown off in the fight, right?
Yeah, she's like trying to defend him or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like
He promised he would kill her father, who I'm thinking is Mad Mardigan. I'm not really sure at this point. But he promised he would kill him, and she would rule the universe.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So Dr. Mittenhand and her are following the yellow brick road, right? He wants a
They're
body.
trying to track down the lollipop
She
guild.
wants a hand.
If
Okay.
I only had a body.
And so after the leprechaun's blown up, one of the Marines goes and pees on him.
Yeah.
And then the leprechaun's essence like travels up
Apparently,
like an
like,
peeing on
it's like one of
electric
those
lamprey.
It's one of those like Amazon fish that'll like swim
Yeah,
up your
super
pee
pee.
stream and embed itself in your penis.
Yeah, that's what the leprechaun
It's
does.
just kind of like that.
Speaking of which, the Animal Planet is now making a horror movie, much like the sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
and their first one's going to be about lampreys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Lampreys? They're like prehistoric
No,
creatures.
lampreys. The things that crawl up your pee hole when you're
Oh, no,
swimming.
lampreys are like
No,
an
I
eel.
thought lampreys were like little
Then what's-
eels, and they have like several layers of teeth, and they live in your nightmares.
My bad.
But they've been around since like T-Rex fucking boned every dinosaur on the planet.
Is T-Rex horny? Was he just like? Was he
No,
just a
he was
stud?
just a fucking
He had
pimp.
those little tiny hands, so he couldn't really do anything to himself.
He
so
was just
obviously
a pimp, yeah, you know. He's
Well,
just
you know
like-
what they say about tiny hands.
No, what do they say, Paul?
Warm
Oh my
hearts.
god, that joke.
They look so tiny on your massive dick.
So, like, the essence of the leprechaun travels up his pee stream and into his body.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it's like the freaking glittering Wizard of Oz emerald dust.
It's the golden shower rainbow.
Well, you know, guys, it's Science 101, really. There was water, there was light coming from the guy's chrome dome.
And there was
so it created a
leprechaun
rainbow.
entrails.
It created a rainbow.
It's a magic rainbow.
And then the leprechaun appeared.
It's like a sprinkler on a hot day.
Did he even sound Irish to you? It sounded like he was really fucking lazy.
He had a really strong midget accent.
There's no race of people all
He had a
into
wee
himself.
people accent going on.
Well, he did travel up a stream of wee, so I guess that makes sense.
So back on the ship, the doctor is trying to save the princess. They have have her wrapped up in bubble wrap, so they can have better. Somebody farted. Fuck.
Wasn't me.
That's probably my bulldog. He's sleeping under the table.
Holy
right now.
Jesus!
It smells like his farts.
I'm afraid to
We're
fart.
gonna have to re-record that part. You can hear what that smells like. And so also the
It's
doctor.
At the 21-minute mark, Gabe.
The doctor has an assistant named Harold, who's like a gay Woody Allen, and he hits on the guys. But then later on,
yeah,
he doesn't hit on the
he's
girls.
I think I'm developing a new sense.
So the Marines, the Marines want to leave because one of their guys died during the fight with the leprechaun, but Dr. Mindenhand won't let them leave because their contract isn't up yet.
How badass are this group of Marines that they lose a man to a midget?
A magical midget, Craig. I mean, come on.
I mean, Willow is Willow, but still, I mean, fucking A, man. You're a Marine team.
So while Dr. Mittenhand and Sergeant Hooker are arguing, because that's a sentence in English. Well, they're having this argument. The sexy female Marine, who's the second Tool Time girl, is like banging the Marine P guy down in the cargo hold or something.
Friggin' leprechaun penis.
Is it a
man.
golden shower that's going on?
No, they're getting ready to like get into it. Yeah.
And so,
actually, what happens is the Marine has a kidney stone that looks like Warwick Davis's face popping out. It's really.
Oh yeah. This was originally in 3D.
Even though he's a midget, it still hurts to pass.
I was very disappointed by this scene. Like, why couldn't they do what they did like in Nutty Professor and like seen his penis come out? It's Warwick Davis's face, and he's got a big smile on his
Was
face.
that in the Nutty Professor?
You're thinking of Meet the Clumps.
And the Nutty Professor too, like Eddie Murphy,
It's
like
quite the
has a
clump he had
bulge
there.
coming out of his crotch, and it's Eddie Murphy's face coming out of his.
I'm sure you're not thinking of the porn parody, The Nutting Professor. Get your facts straight, Joel. Come
The
on.
Nutty Professor.
Catch up. Come on. So the Marine is getting like a blowjob from the hot Marine. The P Marine is getting a blowjob from the hot Marine. And then he starts to like have like some sort of spasms, and then the leprechaun like springs out of his groin area and flies across the room, and you can totally see like the wire when he's going across.
That's
the dummy
actually
and the
just
fishing
the,
pole, and the guy with the fishing pole.
Yeah.
No.
Suspending.
You guys
Warwick.
have it all wrong. That was actually the stream of cum coming off the back of his head that attached the Marine's penis.
That's right. He really
was.
drank Warwick Davis and ejaculated him out into the scene.
No, I think Craig Joel is right. It was the guy with the fishing rod, but he's so little that it was like a really frail little old lady with the fishing rod.
It was really a chopstick with a piece of thread.
This is the dumbest thing we've ever talked about.
And that takes work, people. Don't forget to
Save that part. Save it.
thing is the dude holding the fishing pole was actually a freaking hand puppet, and there was a hand puppet holding the fishing pole, holding Warwick Davis.
Erupting from a pea marine's crotch. Because that, once again, is a sentence in English.
We got Frank Oz to work on this? Awesome.
I also realized during this part of the movie that the black space marine is played by Juana Mann from the cross-dressing basketball movie.
That's my favorite pickup line.
Juana Mann.
Did we see a preview for that?
Yeah, we did.
It was a preview. Yeah, it's a preview before the freaking movie. They're plugging all those actors and actresses' movies.
So they need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
They were in Leprechaun 4.
The Leprechaun is stalking the hot marine gal through the ship. And like I said, she's the girl. She plays Pamela Anderson on Home Improvement as the new Tool Time girl. After Pamela Anderson left to go to, what's the David Hasselhoff show?
Baywatch.
Yeah.
You mean have the sex video with
Nazis
Tommy
dead
Lee.
and loving
Yeah, that too. And the Leprechaun jumps onto the hot marine girl, but she kicks him in his tiny, tiny balls and gets away. And meanwhile, while this is happening...
Wait. Do midgets even have balls?
Yes.
They have wee balls. Wee balls.
Tiny little robin's egg-sized balls.
For
you.
Oh, wow.
I played marbles with a sack full of them the other day. It was very much fun.
Oh, my leprechaun balls.
Secretly, that's really what peas are.
I'm pretty sure I heard him yell, "She crushed me Lucky Charms!"
That's why they're small and green. Those are leprechaun balls. So, meanwhile, on the ship's disco lounge, Juana Mann makes fun.
Why did that exist?
Yeah,
Because it's awesome.
They're hardcore Marines. They
because
need
it
a
makes
disco.
sense.
So Juana Mann is making fun of all the white people dancing, and then the Tool Time girl runs in and she goes, "It's alive!" talking about the leprechaun.
Oh, I thought she meant her like abortion that freaking just would not die.
And so while all this is happening, Harold, the gay Woody Allen guy, is apparently molesting the corpse of the space princess.
Oh, Lord damn it.
And Dr. Mittenhand spies on him through the monitor. And the way he looks on the monitor, he's always looking at you out of his nostrils.
Didn't they have the monitor came through on some kind of chain above and swung in and it was just kind of staring at him like, "You sick son of a bitch."
And so the Marines then, they have to go into the waste disposal area of the ship for some reason, and the Marines have to wear those hazmat suits because there's some sort of
flesh-eating bacteria
that dispose of the
because they can't just open the airlock and get rid of it that way.
Dispose of
Heaven
the crap.
forfend. They need cannibalistic bacteria that devour anything it comes across. That seems like a good idea.
They don't want to pollute the infinite mass of space-time with their poop.
The last thing you want to do is be flying your X-wing around so they get shit.
Squelch.
Have you seen those space littering laws?
Have you not seen Gravity? You shit in space.
That shit comes all the way around the Earth and blasts you in the face.
No more shitting in space,
That's
guys.
25,000 miles.
That's right.
That's gotta sting.
So they go into the waste disposal unit, and the Leprechaun has a hazmat suit on too.
Because that's conveniently just there.
Yeah, that's right.
In case they have kids on the
Yeah.
ship later or something.
Who in the fucking staff wore that?
And he also has a prison shiv, which doesn't really seem particularly magical. And then Books, who's kind of the main character.
Yeah, I'm drinking some Pruno right now.
He pulls a chain hanging from the ceiling, and blood just falls all over his suit.
That happens all the time to me, man.
It's like reenacting the scene from Flashdance.
Flashdance / Carrie.
Yeah.
Why does he pull the chain in the first place?
It didn't make any sense.
Just to get blood poured on him.
So the Leprechaun cuts open the suit of the second guy, not Books. Everyone calls him Mooch. And the bacteria waste disposal area, he eats all the flesh off of his bones, and when they pull him out, he's just a bloody skeleton inside the.
Yes, because that's how flesh-eating bacteria works.
Yeah.
Well,
instantaneously.
he was a waste product, to be fair. So I guess it's okay.
Hey, shitty actor, same thing.
So at this point, the Leprechaun has made it clear he wants the princess back, but Dr. Mittenhand won't let them take her.
Well, didn't they also steal his gold?
Yeah.
We mentioned that they'd stolen his gold, and they used some kind of thing that
They used
debigified it. and made it
unbiggerizer
smaller.
or whatever.
Yeah.
They have like a shrink
Debiggerizer,
ray.
and they shrunk it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Maybe
Was this
that's why they
before?
have the small suits in case they shrink themselves. They
Guys.
can run around in that.
I'm a little confused. Was this before or after Rick Moranis broke it?
I'm pretty sure this was after. Well, after.
So
I shrunk the kids. And when I mean kids, I mean my testicles.
and by testicles, I mean peas. So Dr. Mittenhand won't let them give the princess back, so he starts to pick off the members of the crew, like one by one, the Leprechaun. And in this scene, we learn that Dr. Mittenhand is like a cyborg, kind of Dalek kind of character.
He's got an arm, half a chest, and a big bald chromy dome.
And he does like jazz hands once or twice.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But he's awesome. I can't
He's
express
a
how
big
awesome
fan
he
of
is.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I need to. We'll change the Facebook picture to Dr. Mittenhand.
Yeah.
He's like his voice is great too. He's like Hitler or something.
Yeah, he's like English Hitler.
He's so
We will
awesome.
be killing the people soon.
He was super great.
We will be asking the questions here.
If we had him and Wang Wang in a movie together, the universe would explode from
Yes,
coolness.
they could be a freaking crime-fighting duo.
Do you think
Wait.
Warwick Davis has nipples the size of manhole covers too? Is that something that's just
I
common?
thought Wang Wang was in this movie.
It's Willow. It's not Wang Wang.
And so
I get all those midgets confused.
Dr.
They all look alike to me.
Invisible until you look down.
Please send your comments to paulsnotasizist@gmail.com.
No, I gotta tell you the story. You know, my friend Tony, his mom worked like a concierge desk at a hotel, and I guess there's a legitimate phobia of midgets. I don't know what it's called, but there's a name for it, and she has it.
Oh no!
And there was a midget convention.
Oh no!
Yes.
And I guess she was just like crawling out of her skin for an entire weekend, checking these people in. And
These people.
Yeah,
I think you mean those people.
Gabe's going to be our moral authority right now with his earlier rants.
hey, if you're a midget and you're listening to this, God bless you.
Hey, I gotta get this in because the dog farted again. But
Making my eyes water. I can taste it on my tongue.
get out of here, dude.
Stop sucking on the dog's ass.
Yeah, blame it on the dog, Joel.
So,
Oh,
would
God.
it be?
It's the worst thing ever. It's worse than concentration
Are you
camps.
feeding them, like, corpses?
No. Just chili and
Eats
cheese.
his own defecation. And then he recycles by making him eat his own shit
Just
afterwards.
1,000-year-old eggs and lutefisk.
Hey, I gotta save money on plumbing, so I just take a crap in his dog bowl.
Oh shit!
No.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wouldn't it be awesome though to take Tony's wife and lead her blindfolded
Mom.
It's his mom, by the way.
his mom into the same thing into the center.
Speak for yourself, Joel.
Joel has a very interesting family tree without a
Oedipus, I mean
branches.
Joel.
Lead her blindfold into the center of the midget convention. Right at the moment that they've got the stage production, they're doing a midget reenactment of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and she's right there in a chair, and she's ready to get the craziest lap dance from every single midget at the convention.
I'm sure she would appreciate that very much.
That would be awesome. Get that on tape.
So at this point in the movie, I think he also does a couple of Sieg Heils, Dr. Mittenhand.
He does.
I
yeah.
believe so.
And so we realize he's kind of an intergalactic Colonel Clink. And
I know nothing.
no, that's
That's the other guy. I know that's the sergeant dude or whatever.
yeah, what was his name? Shit.
don't know.
Okay. And Dr. Mittenhand talks the Marines into going after the Leprechaun in exchange for rights to gold on the planet. That's how he gets them to stay and continue the plot.
Crosses the massive wealth. Yes.
They could have just not brought it up in the first place that the Marines wanted to leave because it literally makes no difference.
No, I mean, there's really no point to that whatsoever. Outside of that, makes them more concerned about their own people or some shit. Who knows? It's a dumb movie. Go on.
It's a great movie, but
No, it's a dumb movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a great dumb movie.
Great dumb movie.
It's a dumb great movie. No, it's great dumb. Yeah.
Its dumbness is great.
It's a great pile of shit.
Its greatness is dumb. So, the Marines are trying to find the Leprechaun. They're searching around the ship, And Books, the kind of the main character, he totally checks out Dr. Tina. And we also find out that Dr. Mittenhand and Harold are trying to regenerate Dr. Mittenhand's body using cells from the princess or something.
Because she regenerates.
She grew her hand back.
I'm sure nothing bad will come of this, obviously.
No, not at all.
And we find out, too, that the hot Marine feels bad because she gave the guy who got killed the boner that killed him.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop her from trying to flirt with Sergeant Shiny Head. She just flirts him up totally. She's like, "Hey, I was just giving a blowjob to a guy who died because a leprechaun blew out of his penis.
Hey,
but you're not so bad looking. Let's get it on."
This is typical of Hollywood. Every script has a whore in it. Driving Miss Daisy, Sophie's Choice,
The Wizard of Oz. It's true. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say midget?
Midget whore.
Let's just say the Tin Man, he was always hard.
Okay.
So my favorite porn star is Bridget the Midget.
Is that a real person? Oh, that is a real person.
It is a real person.
There's a midget suicide girl, too.
Wait, what? Midget suicide girl?
Well, you know, they're all tattooed and pierced.
That's the definition of midget suicide?
No. Suicide girl who is a midget.
It's like a Portland thing.
Oh, okay.
Sorta.
There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I'm putting that out there. Suicide girls, if you're listening, I'm very lonely and I love your look. Call me.
So
Craig is not racist at gmail.com. Register.
Books and Tina find the leprechaun, but he conjures a pair of handcuffs and shackles Books to the shelf. The books shelf.
Didn't see that coming.
And the leprechaun says he will barbecue their buns to a crisp.
Hey, Grace isn't here. We can't do puns.
Okay.
Is this before or after he monologues his Shakespeare for 10 minutes?
So Books and Tina manage to escape, but they blow up part of the ship at this point in the movie.
Did they? I don't even remember.
I can't trust you kids with anything.
So the leprechaun's kind of crawling around in the air ducts like Gordon Freeman style. And he appears on the video monitor and cuts off his finger with a pair of scissors for some reason.
This shit happens.
Yeah. And one of the Marines is named Danny, so the leprechaun...
a safety video or something like that?
Was that what it was? Well, we talked about a safety video, but...
Yeah, he like kicks in like safety video and stuff, and then he's cutting off his own
finger, like bursts flames out of it or some shit.
Yeah.
Happens at UPS all the time. You gotta watch out for the scissors.
I can't tell you how many times a leprechaun comes on the screen and says, "Make sure you fucking clock out before you leave." Or I'll barbecue your buns to a crisp.
So the Marine sings Danny Boy to one of the Marines, and then he crushes him with a giant crate.
Oh, Danny Boy.
Go for it, Craig.
Okay. The pipes are calling.
The pipes are calling. Okay, go ahead. I'm good.
Is that a song to an Irish crackhead?
Ode to a crack.
I smoke my crack, it makes me feel so good.
I kiss my face, I have no lips. I spit them off.
My pipe exploded, I look like Seal.
I'm leaving that in. I'm doing the editing now. I'm leaving that in.
Seal.
So meanwhile, Dr. Harold and Dr. Mittenhand are removing what appears to be the blue liquid used in tampon commercials from the princess's body. And the hot Marine finds the leprechaun and confronts him and blows him up, but he rematerializes and throws her off the handrail, which kills her.
That shit happens.
Yeah, that does. And then Books and Tina find her lying on the ground, and she, right before she dies, she says, "Kill him!"
Thanks. I mean, without that kind of inspiration, they
might not have known what to do.
Yeah. Kill who? Does he have a name?
Dr.
What does he look like?
What?
So back at the lab, Harold has made a formula to regenerate Dr. Mittenhand, and the leprechaun makes himself look like Dr. Tina but naked. And they let her into the lab.
Okay, so I'm going to put this out
What
here.
a wasted fucking power.
Yeah, why didn't he do that the whole movie?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
Because then they'd be ripping off the thing instead of Alien and Aliens.
You're right, Paul. It didn't even occur to me that this movie about a leprechaun looking for gold in space with a topless princess killing cyborgs and space marines, that just doesn't make any motherfucking sense, man!
Yeah, well,
No,
they are
You know
crossing
what?
the line.
They squandered this power.
Well, he didn't even show her naked. I showed like the upper half of her breasts. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
The actress had too much respect for herself. She's like,
No, she
She's
was
in
in this
Leprechaun
movie.
4, for Christ's sake.
I will do Leprechaun 4, but I will not get topless because I have to think about my career.
And this was after she gave the producer head.
Please let me in this movie.
She had to be Warwick Davis's bitch to get into this movie.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
That's like the shittiest
It's
fucking...
not my appetite you have to worry about.
She had to
It's
like
Warwick's.
scrub Warwick Davis's food bowl.
Oh my God!
Oh,
That's
Paul.
a high five right there.
Scratching behind the ears when he's lonely. Occasionally
Give him
giving
his flea
treats.
dip.
Usually,
You know, you think that
usually
that
Craig
Ewok
makes the funniest jokes.
that Ewok suit? You think that's makeup? they had to
He's shaved for a week.
Shave his body.
They had to nair his ass to get him ready for Leprechaun 4.
Give him his flea dip.
Women get a Brazilian wax, but he has to get a freaking leprechaun wax.
A Middle Earth wax.
An Ewok rack. An Endor wax, dude.
They couldn't even near it. They had to use a blowtorch and napalm to get that shit off.
So Harold
Lets his
lets
face afterwards.
the leprechaun / Dr. Tina into the room, and he promptly stabs Harold right in the dick.
Oh, that hurts.
And Dr. Mittenhands makes the mistake of laughing at the leprechaun, and they follow this up with a discussion about philosophy for a little bit.
You know, they're both like, "Hey, we're evil superpowers. We should hang out, and be friends." But
You know what? If this became like a buddy cop show, oh my god,
they should be roommates.
Leprechaun and Dr. Mittenhands.
Leprechaun and Dr. Mittenhands. Why hasn't it fucking been made yet? Hey, we call copyrights.
You can't take this away from us, public.
He's a
serve my
hard-boiled
tea,
cop
though.
from South Boston, and he's an eccentric German David Hasselhoff fan.
Made out of recycled toaster parts.
When shit goes down and crime runs rampant, who's gonna stomp crime out dead?
Mittenhand and the freak are on the prowl.
They are trying to get away. Hurry, let me throw you at them.
cyborg leprechaun.
I can't go any further. There's not a ramp. Where's the ramp?
Leprechaun!
Well,
The other
trademark
guys.
that one too. So many good ideas on this podcast.
Leprechaun.
Freeze! Look at what's in my rainbow, you bastard!
How many leaves do you think are on my clover? Do you feel lucky, punk?
Did you just go Indian with that? Do you feel lucky, punk?
Do you?
Does
I was-
Leprechaun own a quickie
Listen,
mart?
I was
Stealing
lucky to
shit from
pull
my
off any
store?
accents at that point.
So Harold, who has not yet quite died from his penis stabbing, he then gets his
I'm
face...
still alive.
He stabs the leprechaun and then gets his face flattened with a pizza pan. You guys remember this part?
That's when it turned into a cartoon.
And it makes it just
Yeah.
the exact flat shape of a pizza
Yeah,
pan,
exactly.
too.
It like completely flattens out, and it's all round like Edward E. Newman's head or whatever.
Yeah, and then Bugs Bunny dropped an anvil.
Yeah. It was pretty great. And so the leprechaun wakes up the princess and he tells her he has a plan for Dr. Mittenhand. And he puts a spider and a scorpion into the doctor's DNA formula and injects it into Dr. Mittenhand.
No, he
Poor
doesn't really
Dr.
put it into it.
Mittenhand.
Like the DNA formula, he dumps it into a blender and then drops the
Oh, that's right.
tarantula and the scorpion into a blender.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck kale. Scorpions, that's where it's at.
That's a smoothie right
Yeah.
there.
If you
Get a
want to
couple
feel
of
like
scorpions
an
in there, you got a
badass,
stew going.
you want to feel like
Shit
an
in his
ultimate
smoothie.
badass.
Yeah, I
John
didn't buy a
Budge's Lookouts.
Vitamix for nothing. That's a tough exoskeleton. You gotta have a good blender.
So the Marines are on their way into the lab,
No.
and there's a gun battle with the leprechaun. The leprechaun shoots a gun in this part of the movie. Which
Yeah,
is
like a
What's in
little
the gun?
fucking Uzi or whatever it was. I
He
can't
can
remember
cut
what
his
it-
hands off, expel fire, make purple crap
So this
monsters.
fucking
but he's got a gun.
shape-shifting, gun-conjuring fucking badass has just been a fucking joke the entire fucking movie. What
he
a
can
bunch of
turn
wasted
himself into
powers.
a woman, and yet at no point in the movie does he put his finger into his own vagina.
Does he not want to be taller? Why doesn't he just make himself a taller person?
Is that the first thing you would do?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why does he even need a fucking girlfriend? He can
Craig's
live out
looking
his
at me
fucking
like, what
fantasies
would
on
you
this
do,
crazy,
Paul?
creepy planet.
Paul, what would you do? You get turned into a beautiful woman, and what? What do you do?
You start playing with yourself.
It's like, finally I can have sex with men and it won't come off as gay. It's right in the eyes of Jesus now.
I hope they like anal.
So the Marines are on their way into the lab. There's the gun battle with the leprechaun.
Shit.
But then
You won't have a prostate, Paul. It won't work as well.
And then him and the leprechaun and the princess, they throw acid on Dr. Tina's clothes, and she has to take them off.
Will my boobs be bigger or smaller?
Oh, that's hard to say.
And then the leprechaun conjures explosives on Sergeant Hooker.
So he's fucking God. This fucking leprechaun is God. Why does he fucking need to fucking have a girlfriend to try and fucking rule the goddamn galaxy?
Yeah.
And why does he not do the explosives earlier? Why does he try to shoot people with a gun? Why, God, does he care about the 2 ounces of gold that they've stolen from him? Why was this movie made?
That gun was adorable. It was like, just scaled to his hands.
Right.
Does Play School still make those?
A Manoozy.
Child's first Uzi, ages 3 and up.
Self-protection for your little one.
So
Please take a fired safety
If friggin'
glasses.
rapid fire spit wads and fucking people. And little suction cup plungers.
It's based on Leprechaun, so it's a potato gun.
So they conjure explosives on the sergeant, and then the princess shows everyone her kind of meh tits.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. She was wearing a really generous bustier with like fucking spiked studs coming out of it.
Yeah, and then she takes them off, and she's kind of got
And then she's like, "Whoa, hey, you're like fucking Nicole Kidman minus an A cup."
And it's explained that she shows everybody her tits because this means in her Dominion culture that they're now going to die.
It was explained by someone. Yeah, it was like the doctor is like, oh, in their culture, if they show you your tits and they're royal, you're going to die.
What happens if she flashes her vajayjay? What does that mean?
That means your head will instantly explode.
No, it probably means like, hey, we're gonna like give you a check for $1 million. We'll be taking care of it for the rest of your life.
I'm kind of curious how reproduction works in this culture because, breastfeeding your infant sounds like it's going to be problematic.
How do
They blindfold your
have sex?
child.
Like, they clearly don't have sex, like, like totally nude. She must, like, freaking have, like, I don't know, 8 sheets wrapped around her chest or something.
Dress shields.
Those black bars.
They cut a hole in the
Stripper
curtain
tassels.
and you just kind of glory hole it.
There we go.
through.
Amish
Pasties.
style, hardcore Catholic style.
Glory
Hole
hole.
in the sheet.
Only way you're going to be able to do that.
Hardcore Catholic style.
So at this point,
I'm sure you use a crucifix and some holy water and some wine and a pew. And have you guys not done that? Am I just sounding odd?
holy
now?
water lube.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to like a psychologist and he holds up all these bloody sheets and he's like, "What do you see?"
Yes, Paul. I've been there.
I see that you haven't seen a doctor about that hemorrhoid.
Your psychologist, what's his name? Buffalo Bill? He puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the bloody sheets again.
So the sergeant is like under the control of the leprechaun at this point. The other Marines are after him, and the leprechaun's also changed him into a tranny.
Yeah, he's in a
He's
dress.
dancing around and shit.
And then we find out that the black Joanna Man Marine, his name is Styx, and the reason that his name is Styx is because he has nunchucks. Because he knocks out the
Does he
sergeant.
know how to fucking use nunchucks?
he
Like,
free
correctly?
hold?
Unlike fucking Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
You hold both ends in one fist and you throw them. You lob it like a softball.
So Dr. Mittenhand has been turned into like a cross. Now he's mutated from the bad DNA. He's like a cross between Brundlefly and Chet from Weird Science when he got turned into a giant turd.
He's got 8 legs and a scorpion tail.
Wait,
and
are you saying
a
Bill
mutated
Paxton
face.
doesn't always look that way?
I think the worst part is he still looks better than Warwick Davis.
He does.
It's sad.
He stole
Sad
the
but true.
role. Why couldn't he be hunting down people, murdering them for his magical pot of gold?
He would have been better.
And so the sergeant is having like an internal struggle, a jihad, if you will, between his male and female sides. And he all but says, "Die, cis scum." You guys been on Tumblr lately? That's like all it is anymore.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Carry on.
You're better off not knowing what
I'm
that
sure
means.
I am.
And Dr. Tina manages to trick... who does she trick? Oh, she tricks the sergeant into electrocuting himself on a panel on the wall, right?
Yes. You put like
I
a
barely
fork in there or
remember.
something. Who knows?
I can't remember. He was like screaming, and you heard his struggles, like "Kill me!"
Yeah.
Like, no, leave me alone. I don't want to fight
Yeah, I
anymore.
think at this point I was busy polishing my Blarney Stone. I don't
Were you
remember.
asking people to kiss it again?
I was busy banishing snakes from Ireland.
So Dr. Mittenhand is now somehow even more insane, and he's managed to like activate the self-destruct of the spaceship. And the Leprechaun makes like a Kelly Green force field around the escape shuttle, so the Marines can't leave.
Yeah, fucking God, once again, being freaking outwitted by a bunch of dumb fuck Marines.
Can't find his gold.
Yeah.
Can't kill the Marines. Can make super shields, plant explosives on people, and brainwash them at will, and transform into other people. What the fuck is this guy doing with his life? Seriously.
Okay, first
Make
of
your
all,
fucking gold.
you guys are forgetting he's a midget.
But he can turn himself into a full-size person. We've seen this.
Yes.
Well, no, he
why
gets
does he
turned
choose
by
to
the
be?
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
So-
why does he choose to be a freaking acid thrown in his fucking face leprechaun?
Yeah, it doesn't
Free
make
will.
a lot of sense. And so, anyway, so he makes this force field around the escape shuttle. He sets off to find his gold, which has been more or less his motivation through the entire movie that we've barely even talked
I
about.
could not tell that was his fucking motivation.
I thought
his
he was just
motivation was to fuck that princess.
I thought he was just an asshole.
I think he's just an asshole. I think you're
that's
right.
pretty much the
Hey
idea.
guys,
he's
guys,
just
I'm
an
right
asshole.
here. Come on.
He's mischievous.
We didn't say a gaping asshole. An asshole.
Just an asshole.
Oh, okay.
So Styx tries to go and stop the self-destruct system, but he gets himself cocooned by the mitten spider.
Dr.
And
Spider.
Even after he
spider.
gets rescued, he's got like this big wad of like purple like cocoon. Like,
Dr. Mitten
slime
Spider gets lonely
stuff on.
too. Sometimes he's got
But
to
he
have
leaves
love.
it there. Like there's like 10 minutes of the movie where he's got like this big gross wad of like pink spider flesh stuff like hanging on his arm, and he like never just like goes like and gets it off. It really bothered me.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Gee, a hug.
OCD cast brought to you by.
So the Leprechaun finds his gold, but has been shrunken by the shrink ray from earlier.
Debiggerizer. Yeah.
And I forgot.
Yeah.
And then, for some reason, he also makes then the princess get covered in boils.
Yeah, she was like talking jive to him and stuff, and he wasn't very happy.
She brought up the fact that he has like a fucking negative penis, and
He's not very attractive. He's got
not good with the
self-esteem
ladies.
issues, even though he can transform into other people.
he can't
no way
manage
should
his
it be-
money. He's not very good at keeping track of where all his funds are.
You may have godlike powers, but you have a tiny little midget dick.
In no way should Craig referring to her talking jive imply that she's in fact an African American character. Please send all comments to craigisnotracist@gmail.com.
You guys remember Airplane?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Where the lady like
yeah. It's June
I speak
Cleaver.
jive.
Yeah.
Ain't no thing.
So Books and Tina are shooting at the Leprechaun, and Books.
Do they still speak jive? Is that still?
They transformed it into Ebonics.
Is that like
It's gone extinct.
Klingon? Did some people still
Chakma!
practice it?
I think it's probably about as acceptable as referring to Asian people as Oriental.
But you told us a story earlier that some Asian people like to be called Oriental. I'm confused, Gabe. I'm confused.
We're white men, Craig. That's what we're supposed to be.
Offensive?
Confused.
Confused, offensive,
So Books and
slightly
Tina.
superior by use of numbers. For now.
Books and Tina are shooting at the Leprechaun, and Books gets shot in the battle. And for some reason, Tina then re-bigonizes the Leprechaun with the ray,
Yeah, she makes him very tall.
which makes no sense.
Rebigonizes?
Yes, rebigorizes her. Him.
Not in large.
No,
Rebigonize.
Rebigotizes.
And then Tina sneaks into the duct system to help Styx stop the self-destruct, and while this is happening, the leprechaun grabs his own dick.
He's now hung like
It's kind
a
of like
troll.
if you were a woman.
Exactly.
If you were a
Hey,
leprechaun, we
penis
know where your
now.
hand would go. First stop.
Does he not realize that maybe...
First stop, Cliffs of Dover.
Doesn't
no
he realize
bigger
it's
in
fucking
perspective.
proportional?
Yeah,
So
it's
it's your hand fucking grew, you dumb shit.
Now, if he pulled out his dick and clubbed someone to death with it, that would prove your hope.
Or if he pulled it out and they died of laughter.
Do you think it's green on the end?
I think he
No, it's got
poorly
fucking
clothed.
orange mutton chops.
It smokes a pipe.
And a fucking pipe.
Can't it just be all those things?
Come here, shunter, me lady. Come here.
Green tip, orange mutton chops, pipe.
And
Get on board with that.
And it's an alcoholic.
And its father abused it.
So Dr. Mittenhand tries to capture Tina, and the now giant leprechaun is stocking books around the cargo bay. And at one point, Dr. Mittenhand pulls Tina's pants off and eats them.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dr. Mittenhand.
Which was pretty
Way to
sweet.
go.
It reminded me of the scene in Evil Dead 2 when the ghoul
I can't
like
remember Tina stripped down and nothing but her like.
It reminded me of that
she's
weekend
wearing a
at
top
your
and she had
house.
underwear on.
Ah.
Yeah. It reminded me of Evil Dead 2 when the ghoul eats the girl's hair. He like bites her head and then pulls off a big wad of hair and like eats the hair. Anyway. And so he tries to kill Tina, but then she freezes Dr. Mittenhand with liquid nitrogen and then blows him up with a shotgun.
Which was the
Terminator
worst part of the
2.
movie. Because Dr. Mittenhands was the movie.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they
that
be
made me
like,
sad.
hey, Dr. Mittenhands, just get a hold of your instincts. We have a sequel to make.
Leprechaun 5. Fuck the Leprechaun.
You
Put
know,
in Dr. Mittenhand.
Here's what I don't understand. Why didn't they get Tom Cruise to play the leprechaun?
He's slightly
Because
shorter than
he's
Warwick Davis.
A little too serious.
Well, I think what it was is the regeneration serum they were going to use went against his ethics.
Yeah.
It was kind of like controlling people's emotions somehow, and he was like, fuck that shit.
And while he's still mischievous, it's in more of like a creepy Scientology kind of way that is not as appealing as like a giant midget
Besides,
leprechaun kind of
Even
way.
then, like, you know, after like getting the princess to submit to his will, he would have just been all happy and dancing on sofas and shit like that, glad that he was in fucking love.
And then turned around and had sex with his boyfriend.
Yeah.
Joel, do you have a thetan meter? I need to. I need to take a reading.
This podcast is chock full of thetans.
I got it right here in my pants.
You gotta rub it to make it stand up properly.
So Books saves the princess, which is weird because she's wanted to kill him the entire
She's
movie.
evil. Thoroughly evil.
And so, but now she's like delirious and no longer under the leprechaun spell or something. They kind of imply that because the boils disappear off of her.
She's still a bitch.
She is still a bitch. And then Books has Tina open up the cargo bay doors. Another throwback to Aliens.
Butch has Tina.
Books.
Oh.
Books has Tina open the cargo bay doors. Aliens.
Get away from her, you bitch.
And the leprechaun gets sucked into outer space and blows up for the third time in the movie.
But this time it's for real.
Except for then, after this one, he goes back to the hood.
Yeah. Well, you know, his head was still flying around, kind of looking at people.
There apparently is a wormhole around whichever planet this is that goes straight to
Hey,
Compton.
well, you know, hey guys, they have to
Is that
raise
not
the
is that
bar.
not the literal portal to hell?
They've got to raise the
Suck
bar
it
every
in
movie,
Compton.
okay? You've got to get scarier and scarier.
Yeah.
So he's got to go to the hood. I mean, where else do you go?
Well, he goes to the hood in one of them, and then he goes back to the hood in another one. So I don't
The
know.
hood's pretty fucking scary.
Well, it's funny
It's like
'cause-
2 movies.
Yeah, are you almost done?
I am almost done.
Yeah.
And so he blows up for the third time, and then it shows his hand floating in outer space, and it flips off the audience.
Oh,
remember that?
Leprechaun. I
And
can't
then-
help but love you.
And then that's the end of the
Fuck you,
movie. Roll
Warwick Davis.
credits.
You make this movie great.
What
was
a
a pretty great
mischievous scamp.
I can't take you anywhere, Leprechaun.
He's just going around killing people everywhere, going, "This is a great time. I love this kind of shit."
Even when his
And then he
hand is
blows-
amputated.
His hand amputates, he breathes fire out of it and shit. There's all sorts of fun
There are not enough potato famines in history to kill this movie.
We need more potato famines right away. Stat! Get me a potato famine.
So I would watch this movie again. This was a pretty cool movie. I liked it.
It was good because I guess Dr. Mittenhands was the director.
No,
wow.
it wasn't. He wasn't.
wasn't?
I looked it up. He wasn't.
But that actor was having way too much
He
fun.
does look
which
like
was
Brian
awesome.
Trenchard.
Yeah.
Is that guy in other films? Because he was pretty great.
He was having a lot of fun with it. He's like, this is what I do.
They need a movie with him and Wang Wang and Dr. Barry Nile from Beyond the Black Rainbow. Like all three of them.
Like a
in
fucking
movie
Power
together.
Rangers remix. There's more characters
I
we
would
can
die
add
of
in this.
happiness.
Power
Yes.
Rangers remake, yeah.
I would too. Oh, and Frank Booth from Blue Velvet.
Oh my god.
That would be great.
I rate this movie 2 out of 5 shamrocks up my ass. That's what I'm saying for it.
So don't forget to. Do we have any do's or don'ts this time around?
Don't listen to Gabe's jokes.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw Godzilla. I liked it.
The new Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't like Japan saying that they thought he was a little too chubby in this movie.
They're like, oh, American Godzilla, he's fat.
He eat McDonald's.
Why he have Burger King all the time? Taco Bell, no good for that.
Needs a vegetable.
And then we try to defend it, and we make a Snickers commercial starring him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
by the
maybe
way.
you're onto something over there, you
See those-
Orientals.
You see those thighs? He got thighs like Godzilla. It's horrible.
So don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Talking Schlock, and visit the website at schlocktalk.com. Oh, and email us at craigisnotracist@gmail.com.
I'm not racist.
We'll see you next time.
He's
Not.
sizes.
Adios.
That was Gabe. Not
Adios.